Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of your favorite podcast. I don't know, hosted by your favorite gals, Sana and
Jackie.
Welcome to episode 33.
33. Look at us.
Look at us. Sounds like a good number. 33 is a good number.
I know, it does sound like a good number. I was
Yeah.
like, I don't think it's really significant in any way.
No, I don't. I never really liked the number 3, but 33 does sound nice.
Sounds professional.
Chapter
secure.
33.
Chapter 33.
Yes.
Let's see. Let's just get into it.
Yeah, Jackie's now 37.
I am now
officially
37.
She's older than our podcast.
Jesus. Older than a lot of things. 37, heading into the twilight years of my 30s.
How do we feel? How's the back?
You know, the back, I sneeze and it cracks. So I'll let you do with that what you will.
We need a doctor on demand.
I need to go. I really do need to go get adjusted. It's now at that point where I'm like, if I like sit too long, it like gets stiff and I have to like slowly bend over, then it pops back in place. And I'm like, there we go.
Just see like an old person, just like with your cane, like.
Yeah, put on my orthopedics,
yeah.
You know. Anyway, 37. Yeah, pretty wild.
It's going to be a good one. I feel it.
I feel like
I say that to you every year, but I feel it.
Yeah, but you know what? I feel it.
I really feel it this time.
I really sincerely do feel it.
It's the 7. You know, I have 2 7s in my birthday.
That's true.
It's going to be good
7.
for you.
Yes.
Lucky number 7.
I do feel like it'll be good. I will make it good.
You will make. That's the attitude, everybody.
That's the attitude.
I will make it good.
I will make it good.
We have no time for negativity.
No, well, I will make it good.
You will make
be
it
a little
good.
bit more purposeful in things.
Mm-hmm.
So, no.
How do we celebrate?
It was a great weekend of celebrating. Well, we were just one day, but
2.
Yeah. No, but Friday, Sana took me out for my birthday.
I did. Insert yay.
Yay. And so we went to Isabel in LA.
Yes.
Which is a great spot. I do recommend.
Great ambiance.
Great ambiance. It's definitely a great date spot.
Great date spot. But I will say it is one of the only LA restaurants I've been to in a long time where you do see groups of guys.
Yes.
Just groups of guys at tables.
We saw multiple groups
Yes.
of guys at tables. And so it's a really large restaurant, considering.
Really large. There's 2 bars.
2 bars.
A bunch of dining areas.
Mm-hmm. I would recommend, if you're going to get a table, ask to be seated in the center of the restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
That's where more of the ambiance is. We were outside, which was nice, and it was very pretty. It was beautiful. It had a very like Laurel Hardware type of feel to it, except a little bit more open. But it got windy, then like leaves were falling into like our food. So it was just weird. It was kind of a weird situation.
And you kind of felt isolated. I mean, there's a good amount of tables out there, but you're not in the mix.
You're not in the mix. I want I want the drama.
I want to see who's walking in, who's walking out. I want to see the drama, the couple fights.
Yes, absolutely.
I like to see who's on a first date.
Yes, that's my favorite. So highly recommend if you do make a res, asking for a table inside in the restaurant. But they're also open till 2, and they feel like they kind of have like a somewhat of a bar-y, loungy vibe. I don't know. I feel like, again, Friday nights are never really it in LA. I feel like it's Saturday.
We did run into a guy.
Yes.
That I canceled on going on a date with. And there he was at the bar.
Of all the gin joints in all the world.
And he knew. He didn't come up to me.
No, but he was staring at Sana because he knew that like this was the bitch. Like he knew. So that was pretty wild. But no, it was great, really great food. Service, not great, but also I feel it's because they only had like 1 server out on the patio.
Yeah, the patio, it was not good.
Not it. But the food was really good.
The food was good.
Highly recommend. It was a good time.
It's always a good time.
We'll definitely go back.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that was fun. And then we ended up going to Harlow after we just like stumbled over there. Anyway, it was a really good time. It was a fun time celebrating. So yeah. But and then my dad's birthday was on Sunday. So celebrated with the family, and just went to lunch, and I got presents from my parents, which was nice. Yeah, and so it was a good time. It was a nice, chill, fun weekend.
That does sound fun.
Yes.
What about you? I was part of it. So
Yes, you were a part of it. Yes.
So Friday, I taught Legree at 5 a.m. 5 and 6 a.m. So, ladies and gentlemen.
First classes, too.
Yes. Friday, 6. My schedule is going to be Friday, 5 and 6 a.m., Thursdays, 5:30 and 6:30 p.m. So, if you want to check out Legree and you're in the Orange County area, or if you're in the LA area and you want to check it out, the studio is called Legree Dungeon.
Yes.
And you can work out with me or Bianca or any of the other teachers there. They're all great. So check it out.
I'm gonna go do a class with you.
You should.
Try it out.
I did that, and then Jackie's birthday dinner Saturday. Me and Aisha went to this new spot in LA called Aya. It was at the Sofitel Hotel in like West Hollywood area. It was really cool. It reminds me of like almost like a Moroccan night.
Okay.
They're like girls with fire, and
Fun.
like it was, even the owner's like, yeah, that was the vibe I was going for, because he came up to our table. He mentioned like 3 different places, I forgot, but like Morocco. When I walked in, I was like, Aisha, I feel like I'm in Morocco. And he was like, yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. So it was really cool. Ambiance was cool. That was fun. And then Sunday, my family had a photo shoot. So we had a family photo shoot. I think the pictures turned out really good. So once they're ready, I will drop them in here because the aesthetic was good.
The aesthetic was really good. She shared with me a little video of behind the scenes.
BTS.
And it looked really good. You all looked amazing. So
yeah, so that's what I did, and here we are.
Yeah, and here we are now.
Back to the week.
Back to the beginning of the week. Well, today we thought that we would talk a little bit about, well, there's not like a set topic.
Yeah.
Because it's more like we stumbled across a video on TikTok. That's where a lot of our inspiration comes from.
Yeah, because then we see videos and we're like, do we agree or do we disagree?
Yeah, and we like kind of debating.
Yeah.
So we found a video. I found a video and I sent it to Sana on TikTok, and it was about how there are no high-value men on dating apps.
This is from a male's perspective.
Yes, this is from a male's perspective,
not a female's, by the way.
So
don't
come at us. Yeah, it was from a guy, and he was talking about.
Well, let's play it.
Yeah, we're gonna play it for you, and then we're gonna discuss, because if we feel like it's kind of an interesting situation, and especially if you've ever been on the apps, yeah, it'll be interesting. Then see if you agree or disagree.
All right.
High-value, good-quality masculine men are not on dating apps. Now, you might ask, why is that? And here's the answer: because these men do not seek approval and validation, and certainly don't thrive on the dopamine hit that they may feel when they get a match or a message. Dating apps and being on a dating site is fundamentally a very weak thing for a man to do. Think about this for a moment. A true masculine man does not seek approval. He doesn't seek validation from anyone at all. But when he puts a profile up on a dating app, he's literally saying, hey, look at me. I want you to approve of me enough to send me a message or swipe in the right direction, depending upon which app we're talking about here, right? And that is not masculine. That's not how a man conducts himself. That's attention seeking. Because the most attractive type of man to a woman is the one who can navigate his life confidently, continuing to refine his character, constantly improving himself and reaching for his potential. This is not the type of man who's on dating apps. And ironically, he is the type of man that will attract the kind of woman who also isn't on a dating app, because she, like him, holds herself to much higher standards. So if you want to truly be attractive to women, be a man and get off dating apps and stop seeking approval from women.
I love the dramatic music.
I know, it's so dramatic.
I know.
It's like so intense. So, thoughts? Do you agree or disagree with what he's saying?
Both. So I mostly agree
Okay.
with what he's saying, because I think some of the things he hit on that we have discussed, I think it is a big validation situation, a big seeking approval, but I do think rare, but there are a few good men on it.
Yeah.
Just not as common. But I'm not going to sit here and say there's zero high value men.
Of course.
There are a few, but there's much less.
Yeah.
So I see where he's coming from.
Yeah.
And I agree with most of it.
Yeah, I agree with I think when he's talking, or what he's speaking about, is regarding a specific type of guy. And I think it's those type of men that are really in their feminine energy, and men that are there's something not totally right about them. I don't fully agree with him because I do think that nowadays that's just kind of how people find people. That's just the new norm. Whereas before, like, I don't know if you like remember like back in like the 90s and even early 2000s, like the personal ads like on Craigslist and stuff, or like online dating was for losers. It was for like, you know, people in their mom's basement type thing. And now it's just the absolute standard. So I think I think there's a little bit of a difference, and it's not necessarily like men are going on there for validation. That's not their sole purpose. I think it's also just, well, that's kind of our culture now. That's just the standard. That's what it is.
Yeah.
However, I do think that there are specific types of men that go on it for the validation.
See, that's right. That's like 90% of them.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And then this is what's happening is I think we're starting to see a shift, right? I think before you actually did have men on there that were, I think the bulk of them were high value, because I think it took some actual time and care and energy.
Well, I want to say like when Match came out, I think Match was more high value.
Yes.
I think those websites you were going to find serious people.
Yes. Like
eHarmony, Match. Like I think the first wave of the like new online dating, or like online dating in general, was more serious people. Like I didn't really know people that were like getting, which again I was much younger when it came out, so it was like people that it didn't even apply to people my age. But like I don't remember hearing anybody be like, "I want to fuck around, let me get on Match." You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, I'm gonna go look for a hookup on eHarm. Like, be right back.
Like I never heard, and then I think slowly it just kept evolving into what it is now.
Today, yes,
which is now. Well, I want 10 different options,
right,
and commit to none.
Yeah, I also don't think it's like pure validation, and I think that actually does sometimes take. And it may be just because I'm looking at it from like a female perspective, but I do think it takes some sort of humility and vulnerability to kind of like put yourself out there.
I don't think so anymore.
But that's what I'm saying. I think you're right. I think just the shift of it is now because it's not like that.
Before, when I first got on any of the apps, maybe my mid 20s. I don't know when they got big. Maybe say mid 20s.
Yeah.
I used to feel like, embarrassed if someone sees me on it.
Yeah.
Even though it's like, well, they're on it too.
Right.
But like, I would be embarrassed by like, I don't want someone to see me on it.
Yeah.
But like when I just recently got back on, I was like, oh, who cares? Like, everybody's on it.
It's like two colleagues or two men seeing each other at the strip club. It's like...
No, it is.
Yeah.
But then when I just got back on it this year, after years, I was like, everyone's on it.
You know what? That's exactly how I felt, because when I first got into online dating, I think it was kind of at its like not super beginnings, but kind of in the beginnings of it, because I got onto eHarmony. And I was so embarrassed by it. And I was just like, oh my God, like this is so embarrassing. I was like 27, 28, which would make sense because you were like 21, 22, and you didn't start getting into it until mid-20s. So I was there at the beginning, and where eHarmony, like, I think you still have to, I don't know anymore, but like fully have to pay for it. You have to do all these questions. Like,
well, you know, that's another thing now. That's interesting. Now, what if Hinge and all these were a fee?
Yes. See, that's the thing, is that's why I do feel like in the beginning, you really did get some high value people because you had to pay. You had to pay for eHarmony.
Now I have my own idea.
Yeah, this shit was not expensive.
You guys, I'm going to start an app that you have to pay for.
Yeah, like full on pay for.
Full on, because like, that is what we
understand.
Wow.
Neither do we, Siri.
Yeah, neither do the timing of that. If we create an app, that you have to pay for. And I think maybe that is the problem. Did we just figure out the problem? It's because it's free.
Solidly pay for. Because that's what eHarmony is. Like, well, eHarmony,
if people are willing to pay $15 to have a blue check mark a month.
If you're willing to pay to verify your insecurity.
Yes. There is a market for people that are going to be willing to pay that for the dating app.
You're going to be willing to pay $13 an hour.
What's funny about that is the serious people will pay for the $15 a month, but the people that verified their check mark for $15 will not pay for it.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. It's quite the opposite.
They will not.
They will not.
For that, they won't.
Yeah, for that they will, but for that they won't.
Yeah. For the fake clout, they will.
But for the legitimate, no.
Yeah.
Pass.
That is interesting.
No,
Because
but-
if you did put a
Subscription. Prescription is valid as well.
yeah, subscription, it would change the game.
But that's how it was in the beginning. Like, I remember.
But I don't think any of these apps have ever had that.
Well, Hinge doesn't. I mean, they all have payment options, but you still get like whatever amount a day.
I mean, you literally do where it's like, why would I need to do it? But if they made it 100%, you had to pay a fee.
Right.
No one's gonna be on it that wants to fuck around.
Right. That's the thing. That was the whole point of eHarmony and Match in the beginning.
Then you would find more hot. That's the issue.
Yeah.
You know, that was right in front of me until you said it. Now it's like a light bulb. It's free.
Yeah. No, but I think that's why, like, now I do think what he's saying kind of does pertain somewhat. Again, I do think that that's just kind of the standard now. But yeah, it's, it's free. And so it doesn't take any humility anymore.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take any like time and effort and energy. I mean, with eHarmony, you had to like do this whole entire 60 questionnaire or whatever. And then you had to pay for it. Like, if you didn't pay for it, like, sure, you could get on it, but you can't see any of your matches. You can't communicate with anything. I don't know if it's changed. Same with Match. Back in the day with Match, like, you couldn't communicate with anybody. You couldn't do anything. Like, you were forced to pay for
whoever's
it.
listening, because I don't know how to create this stuff. I don't know how to go
You know
about
how to
this.
create an app. Hit us up.
I think you should, because I think you're onto something. Because it's also like, from an app revenue perspective, it won't be good, but people are going to be working more towards getting off the app if they're knowing they're paying for it every month.
Yeah.
So they're going to be more purposeful in their dating.
They could be. Yeah, definitely. Because I think that's what's missing now. Because before, it was only you had to pay. And it was like, oh, well, I don't want to have to do that. Then we got into like the free trial shit. And then because it's free and it is so open, it doesn't cost anything. That's the whole thing, is that like something worthwhile. It's like, I think it's like another video that I sent you. Like, something worthwhile, like, it's going to have to cost you. It's going to have to, it's going to have to cost your energy and your time. That's what makes it valuable, because it costs you something.
Yeah. Someone please create it. I will be the face of your app. I have no problem doing that.
I have no problem being your spokesperson
I have
at all.
no problem. I'll talk about it here for my 5 viewers. Don't worry about it. But I think it's a good idea. And I know we're just going back to what they did back in the day.
Yes.
But that was a website. Now make an application.
Well, maybe we need to go back to, I mean, I had eHarmony app and I had the Match app, but I did have the most, I don't want to say success because I haven't had success at all, but I had the most connections on Match.
People that are there for the right reasons.
Because that's what I'm saying. Back in the day, they were more there for the right reasons. I definitely met a lot of dummies. I mean, I met the pilot on Match. So
I mean, there are always going to be the few.
And it's really funny though, because
was it when Match was free though?
No, you had to pay. And I don't know if Match is ever, I don't know what it is now, but it was really funny because I remember one time we were talking and he said, like, we're gonna have to tell people that we met a different way.
Because that used to be like that.
Yeah, because
now
he didn't like that.
It's so funny because now if you say you met organically, you're like,
wow,
how? Where were you?
Where were you? Was it a grocery store? Was it Target?
Funny because
Target.
Like I saw. Did you send it to me or I sent it to you? Or maybe I didn't send it to you. Where she was like, 10X amount of years ago, I met my fiance at Coachella, or like 5 years ago, something.
I sent it to you. Yeah, it was like 7 years ago. We met at Coachella.
And I'm like,
Sauna's like, I don't think we went to the same Coachella.
I was like, I don't think we went to the same Coachella because I made zero love connections at Coachella.
Yes. But that's even something. Somebody that I follow on Instagram, she was talking about how back in the day, Coachella really was about the music, and it truly was festival life, and it was fun and it was vibrant. Where now it's the influencer Olympics.
Well, now it's the fashion. Now it's showing that you were there.
Yeah. Oh, you have no idea who's there. Or some people just go, they take pictures, and they go back to their house.
Yeah.
Like they don't even want to be there, for the music or anything.
See, that's the problem is we ruin everything. We ruined dating apps. We ruined festivals. We ruined it all.
Yeah.
As if I was even going to festivals back in the day because I wasn't.
Yeah.
But for the people that were, we ruined it.
That's what happens is something just becomes tainted and then you lose the originality of it.
Yeah.
You lose like the original essence and purpose of it. And then you get shit like this.
Well, I'm on to something, you guys. I am going to have the studio still, but I'm also... Yeah. I have a third job in mind. A fourth. Whatever
number this is.
Something is...
Yeah, something's a brewing.
Yeah.
No, because like, I mean, Well, you can tell me because you've been on the apps more recently than I have.
A little too recently.
Too recently. Yeah, I haven't been on an app in I don't know how long.
Yeah.
So what's your experience then?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, there's a reason I'm not on it anymore. So I'm gonna say the experience was shit.
Yeah.
When I first got on, I think I was very hopeful, kind of like excited. Like, I haven't been on dates like this. I haven't, what's out there. I haven't seen what's out there. So it was
Yeah.
kind of exciting to get on and be like, wow, I have a catalog.
Look at the
if
menu,
you will.
yeah.
A menu. Swipe, yes, no, swipe. You know what I mean? It was a whole situation.
Right.
So I had a lot of matches. I only went on 4 dates. I met with 5 though.
Yeah.
We'll get into the 5th later. But I went on 4 dates, and the pattern of what I'm seeing is a lot of men that are emotionally unavailable.
Yes.
And I think that just circles back to them being on the app
Apps for validation.
for validation. Because why are you on it if you don't have the capacity to even be in a relationship?
Yeah.
And I think the biggest issue I have with it is I could understand if these guys are in their like mid to early 20s. I'm talking guys in their 30s that are acting like this.
Yes. Yeah.
Where, I mean, I went on a date with a guy that didn't respond to me in 5 days.
Yeah.
Because he was so busy. And then he was kind of like, oh, he texted me because I didn't respond back. That was like, well, it seems that we're fading. And it's like, what were
Yeah.
you, what?
Yeah.
It's and then his response is like, well, if you think my priorities are work, it is. It's like, again, like I'm not expecting to be a priority, but
Right.
like if you don't have the time to invest into dating someone,
Right.
why be on the app?
Well, that's the thing. It's like, I think this is where people get it twisted, and maybe where like men sometimes think, or they think that women are saying this, and it's like, I am not saying that I have to be the priority. I'm not saying that me specifically, that like you have to put me above things. And, I expect that when we're in a committed relationship, because I would prioritize you as well. Like if you're calling me or if you're texting me or whatever, like I would prioritize communication with you. However, what I do need you to prioritize is dating in general. So like you do have to kind of have your top, this is where my energy is going. My energy is going into work, dating, and fitness.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's where it is. Like that's where the majority of my energy is going. And then I maintain everything else. So if you don't have the energy to prioritize dating, which means communication, going on dates, following through, making plans. If you don't have the energy or the capacity for that, then get off the damn app.
It doesn't make
that's
sense
what you
to me.
need to do.
To me, it doesn't make sense because like you guys are in your mid 30s and you're acting like this. So like,
That's
what are you expecting?
That's what's
I don't
wild.
understand. Like.
Yeah. Or like the lack of follow through.
The lack of follow through, the lack of everything.
Yeah.
Where also nobody's that busy.
Yeah.
A text
like,
takes
come
2
on.
seconds.
Come on. Yeah.
It takes 2 seconds. Or it could even be like, sorry, like, I'm going to have a really busy week. You're not going to be hearing from me much.
Yes.
Done.
Oh, God.
Done.
If, like, everyone, men, women, but specifically men, if you are going to be busy and you do not have the time to respond back to this person, or you just know that your time is going to be spent elsewhere.
Your mind's not there.
Your mind's not there, and that is totally valid. Just fucking say it. Just say, hey, not ignoring you. I'm just really busy and won't have time to talk to you for the next couple of days. I'll reach out soon.
Done.
Great. Do you understand the level of anxiety that just drops for women when that happens? Because we are it's rough for all of us out here, okay? But for women, it is so rough for us. And so if we just get 1 ounce of like, hey, I do want to talk to you, I'm not ghosting you, we have PTSD, y'all. Like, you don't get it.
Yeah.
We have PTSD. We have to hype ourselves up for these
dates. You think a little bit. You think like, okay, did I say something wrong?
Yes.
Did
I? Yes.
It just, I don't know.
And honestly, I'm so tired of people being like, oh, well, that's like anxious attachment. Well, that's this and where that's that. And like, there is some validity. Like, I have learned through therapy, there is some validity to it.
A day. I'll give you a day.
Yes.
But 5?
But but you cannot tell me that nobody's anxiety would start to set in or questioning themselves when we went on a date. we had a good time. You said you wanted to see me again and you want to set it up, but then I don't hear from you. Anybody's anxiety and confusion would set in.
Yeah.
So it's just like the communication. No matter who you are, if you do not have time, just simply say so. Hey, I'm going to be busy. I won't have time to respond to you, but I will definitely reach out when I can.
Yeah. That's all.
Simple. I'll reach out when I can to set up another time to see you.
Simple.
Done. You could not talk to me for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I
know what you're doing.
Yes, I know what you're doing.
You told me.
You told me. That's totally
fine.
When
you just leave it so open-ended with nothing said, then we're like, we take it as all right. You're not that into us. We move on.
Yes.
You know, versus if you just sent that, it clears up everything.
Right. But this is the problem when you have people who don't have time to date and also who don't know how to communicate.
Yeah.
When you are dating, you are going to have to give time-sensitive communication. You are going to have to sacrifice a little bit. You are going to have to learn how to maturely communicate what's going on in your world. They don't need specifics. They don't need details.
Yeah.
And that person's not
and you don't need to be like
to be the priority
24/7.
No,
That's
not at all. Not at all. But you're going to have to maturely date.
Yeah.
And this is a problem. It goes back to immature men who are only on those apps for validation. Who they do that you get a dopamine hit. Like, I don't know if we like have some listeners that have never been on a dating app. I think a lot of our friends who are married that have never been on a dating app.
Yeah.
And you met your person in college or high school or just organically, like you don't know, like you don't know the whir and the hell that we go through on a dating app. But you do get a dopamine hit. When someone likes you, when someone matches with you.
Someone you find attractive.
Especially somebody you find attractive, likes it, like you do get a dopamine hit. And I can see how that is
it's
definitely
exciting
addicting.
and it's addicting. But I think that's my biggest issue with it. It's like these guys in their 30s, mid-30s that are acting this way.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, what are y'all doing?
Yeah.
And I also, Jackie, I have this theory. I told Joey and Edison this, and they were all like, you're wrong. And Bianca too. And when we were all here that one day. And I was like, okay, 90%, I'm going to say 90%. I really mean 100, but I'm going to say 90 of the men that are in their mid to late 30s that are single, there's something wrong with them. And I keep saying this because as a male, it is much easier to be married than a female because we are waiting on them. Yeah. And everybody comes at me when I say this because we are waiting on them. You know, they have so many options. There are so many women that are ready to be committed, ready to be married, versus we have like 2 men that are ready to be married and committed. So when I see a guy in his mid to late 30s, I'm like, something's off. You know, I'm talking like 36 and later. Something is off because it shouldn't be this hard for you. And every person I have talked to or gone on a date with in this age range has had an issue. And Jackie Lily was like, you might be right.
I know. It's really funny because Sana has said this multiple times. And I'm like, I don't know, Sana, because like there are some really shitty women out there. There's a lot of gold diggers. There's a lot of girls who serial date, the whole like, oh, I don't want to pay for groceries, so I'm just going to go out on dates, or I'm just going to use him. Why does it matter? There's a lot of shitty women, just like how there's equally shitty men. So I'm like, I don't know, Sana, like you can't really say that. Like it doesn't always mean something. And as she's been going through this, and I'm like, maybe you're right. Like you might be right.
No, I am
about
right.
this.
I am right. And the only exception to this rule is if you were like divorced. If you're single and like now divorced, or like I'll even give you if you got out of a long-term relationship that you were expecting to be engaged. But I'm talking about guys that have been perpetually single.
Yeah.
For a big chunk of their 30s.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like,
I mean, case in point, right? The pilot. Like,
yeah, and he's
in his early 50s. He's like 52. And
how old was he when you met him?
He was 48?
All right. I just want the record to show.
Let the record reflect.
I want you guys to find me one man that hasn't been perpetually single for most of his 30s that is emotionally available, can have a relationship, doesn't have these other traumas and issues, and I'll believe you because
Yeah.
I have yet to see it. I mean, I even work-wise, I have seen it with clients,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Well, it's really funny too because I saw a video on TikTok and this guy, like, he was just like filming himself and he said something like, trying to hype myself up to get back on the app after a failed situationship. And my first thought in my head was, what did you do wrong?
yeah.
Because, like, it really typically happens because a man is not pursuing or communicating effectively or letting the woman know, like, hey, this is kind of like where I'm at. Because we
Yeah.
do, we generally default to following the male. We do. We just
Yeah.
say like, okay, well, where are we going? And I think that is honestly by design, because I do believe that like women are more inclined to follow and let a man lead, and I think that is a natural purpose and position for a man is to lead his family, to lead like his wife, or to lead like in the courting and dating situation. I know people wouldn't agree with
Yeah.
me, and I'm not saying that a woman blindly follows. That's a totally different situation. I'm not talking about that stupid shit. I'm just saying that I think it's a natural position. So when I hear of like a guy being like, oh, like failed situationship, I'm like, that's on you, but like, that's on you, baby. What did you do wrong? Because we're all waiting for you.
That's the thing that people are like, well, it's not the same. I'm like, I mean, they're saying it's the same thing both ways. I'm like, it's not, because there's so many, I can probably find statistics on this, that there are more readily available
women.
I can't even talk. That's how passionate I am. Readily available women than men. And that's why when I see a guy in his mid to late 30s, still single, I even gave a few a shot, and I'm like, no, you guys are all emotionally unavailable. There is a reason.
Yeah.
I mean, there was one 38 that
right.
we connected, and I might have talked about him on the podcast, and he's going on about how he just hasn't had good experiences, and he perpetually gets on and off the app.
Yes.
We had a great conversation.
Great phone call.
He wanted to meet up, and then he never followed through, and that was the end of it. And it's like,
never heard from him again.
It's just like,
okay. Yeah.
it is a pattern.
Yeah.
So,
and that's the thing. And I think like as women, we also try to like find like reasoning for it. But it always comes back down to like, no matter what you think or you think it is or whatever, because some people might be like, oh, well, maybe he just wasn't into you.
Well, then he's not into anybody. You know what I mean? I'm not the only woman out there.
Right.
For you to still be single at 38, like you for sure have gone out with a lot of women.
Yeah. Like
if you're saying that you've been on and off the apps,
what's the deal?
The sitch is you.
Yeah.
Right. And even like I haven't seen Indian matchmaking yet.
Yeah, I haven't seen the new one season yet.
I've heard, like, I saw a clip and I saw bits and pieces, and there was this Indian guy on it, and I mean, granted, he ended up finding somebody at the end apparently, but there's an Indian guy, 40-year-old guy. Okay, he's 40 years old, first of all. Okay.
Yeah.
He's not that attractive, which, whatever. He goes on a date with a girl. Oh, she's not Indian enough. He goes on a date with another girl. She's too Indian.
Oh, God.
And then I don't even know who he ended up with, but it's like, what the hell? Like, stop sitting here and acting like you're this, like, everything a woman desires. And then the woman that he said was too Indian, she even said, like, oh, like, I had a really good time, would like to go on another date with you. And he's like, yeah, like, I don't feel the connection or whatever. And I'm like, dude, you're 40 years old and you're acting like you are George Clooney. It's like...
Yeah. Or I honestly think it does come back down to emotional unavailability because you're using it as an excuse.
No, I agree. That's what I'm saying. They're all emotionally unavailable.
Yeah.
That's what I mean by something's wrong with them, is that they're emotionally unavailable.
Yeah. They're just not an available person, and they have unresolved trauma issues, situations, or like they're just a really selfish person. My friend Athena and I were talking about some guys today earlier, and we were just talking about like how like a lot of these dudes, like they've always just had to care about themselves, and they've never had to care about really anybody else. And so they don't know how to like not be selfish. It's always about them. They have no idea what it means to have to be vulnerable and open and care for another person. And that's like a foreign concept to them.
Yeah.
You know? And so because of that, they don't get into relationships. Or if they do, they fail immediately because they don't know, they truly don't know how to function in a relationship. They really don't.
I agree. So, yeah, I mean, my opinion on it all is that's why I kind of lean towards the guy that said that finding high value men on the app. It's like, I know he said they don't exist. I know people that have met great guys on apps.
Yes.
But I just don't think there's that many. I think the bulk is this bullshit. The bulk is I'm not available, but I want to see what's out there. I want the options, but I'm really not going to commit to anybody. Because you know what's really funny, and I don't know if I've said this before, is that guys that were on the apps when I was single, like years ago, are still on it now.
You know what? That is so funny because there are times where I would go on and off Match for a while. Yeah. And because that just like, I don't know, honestly, like, this just shows how old I am. Like, I was at the beginning stages of Hinge. Like, I was probably one of like the original users.
No, this was only a few years ago for Hinge.
No, but like I remember being on it and it was not what it is today.
Yeah.
I never went on Tinder and I never went on Bumble, but like I was at the beginning of stages of Hinge. And so I would always go on to Match because that was kind of the most like established one. So I remember I would go on and off of it. And I mean, this would be over the course of like 3 years or so, or 4 years. And I would see the same dudes. And I mean, the same could be said for me of like, well, there's the same girl. But again,
I think the intention's different. Yeah. Because, right, like, again, I can't speak for their intentions.
Right.
But you know you're going in there with an open mind. You know that you're going there to find somebody. It's these damn douchebags that are messing it up.
Because I met multiple guys off there. I mean, I met the pilot. That was a situationship because he wasn't honest.
Okay, let's just talk about it. You wanted it. He didn't want it. He's still single.
Yep. There's another guy.
There's a pattern.
There's another guy I met. I wanted it. He didn't. He's still single. There's another guy I met. I wanted it. He didn't. He's still single.
There's just a lot of emotionally unavailable men on it.
Yeah.
And that's why I agree. It is hard to find a high value man on an app.
It is. And I think that's why I'm off of it because
it's a disappointment.
It's a dumpster fire. It's a disappointment. No, I'm off of it because I am truly just trying to focus on a true like healing journey, like being in therapy and trying to understand myself. And I have actually recognized that, speaking of emotionally unavailable, I myself am emotionally unavailable. But in the terms of I don't know how to speak up for myself and I don't know how to communicate my boundaries. I don't know how to communicate what I want or what I don't want because I always fear losing somebody. So that is a form of emotional unavailability, which I didn't understand that. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. But I'm also not on the apps because I know that I am not in a place to give myself to it. I cannot be going on dates right now. I cannot. I really want to focus on the whys in my life. But also, I just feel like I'd rather than just take my chances in person because now it's kind of equal. You're going to meet the douchebags in real life. You're going to meet the emotional, unavailable men in real life the same way you would on an app. But I feel like there's an easier way to like kind of reject them or not engage or not talk in real life versus on the app. You're very much sitting there being like, talk to me, like my photos. Here's my prompt. Like you're full on open to engagement.
Well, you can also weed it out easier in person.
Yes, that's why I feel like you can weed it out better in person. You can sense their energy, the way that they speak, the way that they carry themselves. You're like, nope, you're a douchebag. You're a fuckboy. You've got issues, like, absolutely not, like, or like, nope, I like you. Okay, you're smart. Okay, then you can kind of get to know them or whatever. But so for me, because beforehand, the apps were better. But now I think in person might now be better or it's the same. So I'd rather just take my chances on the streets.
Yeah.
Versus on an app. But
yeah, I mean, I can't say I'm going to ever get back on. It's not for me.
Yeah.
I've never had a good experience.
What's been your worst experience? And not a bad date. Not like what's been your worst date, but like what's been like your worst experience off an app?
Once I tell this story, people are going to be like, bitch, how'd you get back on the app? Because I have never had like a good experience on an app. Like there've always been like guys that I've liked that didn't want commitment or like yada, some sort of, or I just didn't connect with or I'm emotionally unavailable. It's just, it's a mess.
I'm like wondering what the story this is now.
This one takes the cake. So this was off Dill Mill, which is like the Indian dating app.
That's right. That's right.
This
Oh,
was
wait.
back in 2016, 7 years ago. What was I? 23. Wow.
Oh, God.
I was 23, 24.
Jesus.
Yeah. So that's probably around when I was on the apps, around that age.
Mm-hmm.
And it was an Indian guy, obviously.
Yes.
So we matched. His profile said he's in med school at UCR.
Oh my God, that's right.
So we met, we went to dinner, whatever. We were texting, we went to dinner, all of that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And we were seeing each other off and on for months. But I always felt like there was something shady. I always felt that there was something shady. And like I would question him about a girl in particular. And I'd be like, who is this girl? Like, why is she always commenting your pictures? I remember that. She was always commenting his pictures.
Yes.
And I was like, why is this girl always commenting your pictures? Typical guy. She's obsessed with me. We're friends, but she wants more. I would never date her. All that bullshit.
Yeah.
And of course, she had a private profile, so I couldn't see what was on her profile.
Couldn't do the stalking.
And I would never comment on his things, whatever, because we were never official, but it was, again, that weird, like...
We were seeing each other, whatever, and I remember, like, you were maybe headed that way, but it was never...
we were talking all the time. It was this weird thing.
Yeah.
But then if I was talking to somebody else, it would be an issue.
Right.
Like, it was this weird thing with him.
Yeah.
God,
I forgot about this.
And so then... I went to his dorm a few times, or his like apartment or whatever in UCR a few times. Again, like it never occurred to me, like when someone says they're in med school, I never thought like, are you? Like, do I need to verify this? Do I need to like see what kind of books you have? And like sometimes he would tell me he can't hang out because he's studying, or he'll text me later because he's studying.
Yeah.
And of course I'm like, he's in med school.
Of course.
That makes sense. Like of course he's studying. Of course he's doing these things. Of course this is why he can't hang out, because he's studying.
Yeah.
So lo and behold, about a year later. So at this point, me and him are nothing.
Yes.
Like we stopped months before I got this message. So maybe we stopped talking like 4 months before I got this message.
Okay.
So this is exactly a year from when I met him. I get a message from that very girl that was commenting on his pictures. And the one I always questioned.
God.
She sends me a message on Instagram. And she was like, hey, I want to ask you about so-and-so. And I was like, yeah, what's up? And he's like, well, we've been dating for like, I forget, X amount of years.
Oh my God, that's right.
I recently found him cheating with multiple girls. And one of the girls also goes to UCR, and she told me, because I reached out to her, she told me that she kept seeing your name on his phone.
Oh my God.
So she was like, I need to know what happened between you and this guy. Yeah. And I was like, wow, so he has a girlfriend.
Oh
so I responded, I was like, wow, like I've always asked him about you. He told me that you guys are friends. It's nothing. You're basically obsessed with him. All of that. She goes and she lives in Canada. She goes and then proceeds to tell me that they were supposed to get engaged. Like, it was like that.
That's right.
They were supposed to get engaged.
It was, like, super serious. I remember this.
Thank God, at that point, him and I weren't talking, because I would have, like...
Oh.
Yeah, but not that he would have even, like... Because he had a girlfriend. Like, there was apparently, like, multiple girls. God knows where I was in that lineup. And then I made a remark to her. I remember I made this specific remark. I was like, for a guy in med school, he sure has a lot of time to, like, do this. And she goes, med school, ?
That's right.
And then she goes, he was not in med school. She goes, he was doing his undergrad at UCR. Mind you, he's like 24 at this time. So I'm like, okay, Mans is behind on his undergrad.
Yeah, like he should be done by 22.
But you know what? Better late than never. I'm not going to hate. And she
We're
goes,
not going to hate on anyone getting an education.
She goes, he was never in med school. He's still doing his undergrad.
Shit.
And I was like,
that's right.
I was like, what do you mean? He kept, everything made sense. Because there were so many girls.
Yes.
He had to like say he was studying. He had to but he knew.
He had to set up the lie.
But he knew that girls would be like, a guy in med school, that's attractive.
Yeah. And then you can also just use like, no, I've got a test tomorrow. I really got to study.
I got all these things because
absolutely.
He also being at 24, like a lot of girls would be like, oh,
why are you doing your undergrad?
still.
Right. But if you're like, I'm in med school and
you're
I'm
like,
continuing education, it'd be like, oh, like, all right, okay.
yeah, I get it. So he, obviously they were not together anymore.
Yeah.
But according to her, there were 9 to 10 other girls.
Holy shit.
So
I forgot about that. Oh my God.
Mind you, this guy was like average looking. He had a whole on operation going on. I don't even, because he was not even that hot. But I don't know how.
Man.
I mean, from that moment, I was like, wow, you need to verify if someone's in med school now.
Right? We trust but verify.
We trust but verify.
Ladies, trust but verify.
So, and then that man's had the balls to add me on Instagram like a year or two ago. Obviously, we didn't follow him back. But I did get an opportunity to like tell him off.
Yeah.
Because there was an opportunity where he reached out. He still had the balls to reach out like months later.
Hey, what's up?
Like that, literally. And I'm like, what do you mean, what's up? Like,
oh my God.
And that is by far the most interesting, worst situation. I don't think many people can beat that.
No.
Yeah.
No, I don't even have. I have one that actually makes me look really pathetic. But it is nothing like that. Nothing.
What is yours? Now we got to hear it.
Oh God, no. Mine is like, it's more so just a lesson and a timeline of showing like how much I was trying to get somebody's like validation. Really, I would like I think you remember this. Like I met this guy on an app. We were talking. Yeah. We totally connected. He was really cute. I thought he was. I still think that he's cute. He's a dope and an idiot, but really cute. And then he was like, "Hey, how about we go on a date?" And I was like, "Great." And he was like, "Let's go on a date like on Wednesday." And I said, "Okay." And he's like, "Do you want to like talk on the phone before then, like have a conversation?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." So this is on a Sunday, and he's like, "Okay, like I'll call you later." So then I get home from work on a Sunday, and I'm like, "Hey, like just got home from work, like give me a call whenever, I'll be around." And he goes, "Okay, cool. Yeah, no problem. Just heading home." Never heard from him again. Like at all. It's just like, did you drive off a cliff? Like, are you alive? Like, are you dead? And then fast forward, like, I don't know, a year later or 2 years later, we connect again. We match again. And it's really funny because honestly, we've had this pattern that we've matched like 3 or 4 different times.
Yeah.
Of course, every single time I remember him.
And he never
remembers. He never remembers who I am. He never remembers that we matched.
What an idiot.
He never remembers anything. And again, this is more just like a really sad timeline of like how bad I like, just how sad it is that I need like this validation and to just be like, like me, like, type of thing. Like, you need to like me. We're growing. But yeah, 2 years later, matched with him. Same thing happened, like ghosted me, matched again a year later. That time we got like way more talkative, but again, like ghosted me. And then I think there was like a 4th time, which is actually like last year. Last year, we matched and like we were talking and stuff, and like we got way farther than anything had ever happened.
It's like a challenge now.
Yeah, right. Talked multiple times, like talked on the phone multiple times, but again, asked me out. Was like, "I'd love to see you," and I was just like, so sad, so sad. And I was like, "Sure." And then day of the date or day before, like, "Hey, I'm not feeling well. I don't think I'm gonna make it." And this is when I was very proud of myself. And I said, like, "Look, like I am truly looking for something and I want to have a committed relationship with someone. And, obviously I'm not looking to rush into anything, but if you don't have the time or the energy to devote to this, or if you simply are just like not interested, then not a problem. Like that's fine. Just let me know. Cause I just can't keep doing this." And because I think this was like the second time.
"What do you mean doing this? This is the first time we've done this."
Right. And I'm like, "Surprise, dummy."
It's been like 5 times.
We've been talking since like 4 years ago.
Yeah.
No, because this is like the second time within just even this recent time span that he like he bailed on a date. And so he was like, yeah, I'm sorry. Like, I don't know. Like, I guess I'm not ready for a relationship, or I thought I was. And I guess I have things that I've really got to work on.
4 years since you've been on the app.
Yeah, right. And I'm like, yeah, no problem. Like, wish you all the best, type of thing. 2 years later, or 2 months later, he has a girlfriend. Like, bro,
I don't know, make it make sense.
Like, make it make sense. This is my problem. It's just like, look, if you're not into it, then you're not into it. Why can't you just say it? I don't know. I'm so perplexed. I honestly would love to have a lineup of men come on here and really explain. Like, if you have been
one by one in the hot seat.
one by one in the hot seat. If you have been one of these men that have let a girl on or whatever, ghosted them, then come back, zombied them, or you've bailed on them on dates or whatever. Like, why wouldn't you just say? Like, why wouldn't you just sit there and say,
because they're a coward.
I'm not into you.
I can give you that answer. They're a coward. They don't want to face it. It's hard. They rather ignore it. We don't need them to sit there. That's exactly what they want.
No, I want more why? Then
because it's
why
easy.
Talk? But I guess that's my whole thing. It's just then why? But I think we were talking about this earlier. Even I think we underestimate companionship for men. I think that they really do enjoy talking to people, or women specifically. They enjoy talking to women. They enjoy being around that feminine energy, but they have no idea how to navigate a relationship.
I don't agree that they haven't. I agree that they crave it.
I think that they really enjoy companionship and they don't even know it.
I think there's a lot of issues.
There's a lot.
But yeah, I would love to hear everybody's. I want to see if someone has a worse story than me.
Yes, I would.
Because my family still talks about this story because it's so bad.
It's so bad.
And he's the thing is you would think that it was just between me and him. No, he's met my friends. I've met his cousins.
Yeah.
I don't know how many people he did this with.
Yeah.
But I even met his roommate. His roommate was probably dude, 5th one this week?
Damn. Yeah. Yeah.
But
no, yeah. If anyone has a worst or more worse experience than Sana, I also
want to hear your worst experience.
Yes, I would love to hear people's worst experiences. Because not just a bad date, but worst experience. I mean, maybe it could just be a bad date, but worst experience from an app. Would love to hear it. Feel free to DM us, email us, leave a comment. Would love to hear it
because we can't be the only ones.
We cannot be the only ones.
Now we laugh at it, but it is one for the books.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, to wrap this all up, few things. I need someone to create the app and charge a fee. Okay?
Absolutely.
Hinge, if you want to start charging a fee, fine.
Yeah.
But I would love a new platform with a fee. Second, do I agree that high-value men are not on the apps? Yes. There is a 5% R, but I went from 90 to 95. So 95% are not.
Yes.
And third,
I don't know. We're not getting back on.
We're not getting back on.
We're just gonna go out in the streets.
And I give you guys props for staying on because I lasted a whole month. And
did
I even last time? I don't even know.
Yeah. I honestly can't even tell you the last time I actually went on a date.
I couldn't even do it. I couldn't even get myself to go on anymore. I was 4 bad ones and 5th. I mean, we didn't even get into it, but we met the 5th at Coachella.
Yeah.
And again, another mishap.
That was another weird situation.
Hung
out all day, Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday he was like, "Oh, I don't know if I know you." And
never heard from him again.
Yeah, so weird and random.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, if you're out there and you're on it, props to you. And if you have found your significant other, before you think you want to divorce them, come talk to us.
Yes.
Or just replay this episode.
Or, actually, we need to weigh the pros and cons. We can't make people stay into things that are not good.
Obviously. But I'm just saying.
I'm very happy in my life right now.
Yes. Just, it's rough out here. That's all I'm saying.
You keep yourself, I tell everybody, keep yourself busy. You're not going to realize it's rough.
Keep yourself busy. Well, I still think you'll,
there are moments. There are moments, but I'm still busy enough to be brush the moments off.
Yeah. It makes it helps the hard moments.
Yeah.
When you're busier and, less time to cry.
Yeah.
Basically. But anyway. Well, just a reminder, wherever you are listening to this episode right now, subscribe so that you get alerts when we have a new episode that comes out every Wednesday. We'd love for you to leave us a review. We will accept nothing less than 5 stars.
It's 5 out of 5, not 5 out of 10, by the way.
5 out of 5. And leave us a comment. Leave us a review. We love
Tell
to
us your
hear it.
story.
Tell us your stories. We'd love to hear about your experiences.
Yes, and if you want advice.
Yes, if you want advice or what our thoughts are, because we've been through it. Let me tell you all.
Yeah, I feel
We
like you
have been
guys are
through
like
it.
seeing a 5% of my dating life.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
not 5, but a good amount. But
I have
there's
been
a lot
like
more.
actively like dating for like 9 years. So I've seen a lot.
I've seen a
and
lot, too.
Yeah, you have too. So yeah, if you want some advice, you want our thoughts or opinions, you have questions, let us know. DMs, email, whatever.
Yes. If you want
but-
to take a workout class, let me know.
Yeah, I want to take a workout class. Would like to meet us in person.
If you want a meet and greet, a 5-person meet and greet,
personal appearance.
let me know. I can come to your state. We're going to do like a world tour. It's like one person at like, not even each country, but like one person at like every 10 countries.
Every state. We're going to hit up Milwaukee.
Yeah.
We'll be in Akron, Ohio. Come find us. Come through.
Yes.
Anyway, the summer.
It's coming.
I don't know.
We're going to have the podcast, the poster soon.
Yeah, the poster soon. All right, y'all. Thanks for tuning in, and we will catch you next week.
Yes. Have a good week.
Bye.
Bye.